Do you sometimes have negative thoughts and feelings? Do you sometimes feel bad, maybe hate yourself, you know, uh, don't want to get out of bed? These are difficult things to deal with. So hopefully today we're going to talk about how to deal with negative thoughts and feelings. This is the Existential Stoic Podcast. I'm Danny, everybody. Randy, what's up, Randy?
Yo, Danny.
Let me ask you a question. Hypothetical. Have you ever had negative thoughts and feelings?
Yeah. Hypothetically, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or so I've heard people have them, yeah, every once in a while. It's crazy because I was reading this thing about some senior monk somewhere, there are always these anecdotal stories about these senior monks who are enlightened and everything like that. And he's like, it comes down to two simple things. It's like don't feed negative thoughts and just accept what is. And he's like, the rest of it, that's it.
It's so hard to do, though, isn't it? It
I
sounds so
know, right?
easy.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But that's the
Yeah. I
biggest thing
can't
I
even
think.
I can't even get to the accepting what is. I'm still feeding the negative thoughts.
Yeah. That's the funny thing though, because I think that's really what the worst part is. It's not even that we have negative thoughts and feelings, it's that we all like stoke those flames, like obsessive people. And then it just gets worse and worse. And by the time you actually do deal with it, it's like a catastrophe, rather than just being like a simple thing you've ruined multiple days or a week or months, it's
Hmm.
ridiculous. Yeah.
Yep.
So hopefully we can prevent that a little bit. We have three tips each. I'm going to start. My first one is journal to understand the root of these feelings. And I think this is a really good one. It's great because journaling, nobody else has to look at it. It's all for you. But you first of all, you get your thoughts down on paper, you get them out in the world, but also just try and explore like why am I having these feelings? What is the root of it? Is it, something that I did? Is it something I can fix? Is it like that I'm hungry or tired? Is it something else going on that's bothering me that's like this is misplaced and really I'm angry or upset about that and I'm misplacing that anger or whatever. Because I find for myself at least a lot of times like my feelings are usually they come up, but they're related to something other than what the thing is that I think they're related to. Does that make sense? Like they're
Hmm.
from somewhere, their source is elsewhere. And so when you figure out the root, it can help you actually deal with it and figure it out.
Yeah, that's a really good one, the writing them down. Because oftentimes they are hidden, like you said.
Yeah.
And and you can just think like, well, my life just sucks. And it's like, no, I'm just in a bad mood right now. Like that's that's
Yeah.
what it is. And then once you sit down and write, you're like, oh yeah, some person looked at me funny, and then I got into a bad mood. And it's like my whole life turned into the death spiral because somebody looked at me weird, and that's that.
Yeah. It's funny too. And like we don't realize it until like, we actually get it out there and figure it out. So
Hmm.
you gotta do it.
Yeah. So my first one, dealing with negative thoughts and feelings, is let it be okay. You know, they happen, they come.
They
Negative
do.
thoughts and feelings happen. Yeah, and it's crazy because we live in a world that makes you think it's wrong or there's something wrong with you if you experience negative thoughts or feelings. But it's part of living a human experience is you're going to have them, and yeah, learning to recognize that and live with them is part of the process.
What's funny? You mentioned that too. It's like I saw this thing the other day and it made me think of this. Like the TV was on and it was like, it was some like news feed thing where they were doing like a segment and like this woman was showing like, she was supposed to show college kids like how to shop for food or whatever to cook. I don't know, some stupid thing like that. And so like there's a woman that's like, she's like probably in her 40s or something. But she comes in and she has this t-shirt on, her energy levels like through the roof. She's smiling like crazy. And I'm like, this is part of it. We're constantly fed media like TV, these documentary like things or special things, and then like social media where everybody's just looks like they're over the top energy, happy, just going so fast. And it's like it's so unrealistic too. And it's like, but it makes you feel like that's how you're supposed to be. And it's like it's you can't. Nobody has that level of energy all the time. Nobody feels
Hmm.
that way all the time. It's ridiculous. I'm never that excited
Hmm.
about grocery shopping. Like
Yep.
it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, but somehow you feel like you're not good enough if you're not.
Yeah. It makes you feel like, yeah, you're doing something wrong because you don't look like that all the time. Yeah,
Hmm.
a good one. You can have bad days. My what was that? Oh yeah, my second one is practice some self-compassion. I think that goes well with yours too. Like,
Hmm.
these things happen. We're gonna have bad days. We're gonna have these feelings. Try and be compassionate with yourself. Instead of immediately going to stoking those flames, act like a friend would act towards you. Like, You don't have to hate yourself. You don't have to be a failure. What would you normally say to somebody you love in a situation like that to help them and say it to yourself instead of,
Hmm.
taking the other route where we're all like really mean, horrible people to ourselves.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy that you can be kind to yourself? Like, I like the example that you give of like, what would you say to a friend? Or like, or maybe like think about like an older family member or mentor, someone who really cares about you. What would they say to you?
Yeah.
they wouldn't go berating you. They would just be like, yeah, this stuff happens, Some days are like that. Sometimes you feel like a turd.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. We're so mean to ourselves, I think. And part of that is because of that expectation of what we think we should be, and we're like somehow failing it. And it's like, but that anger
Mhm.
doesn't help. It just makes it worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my next one, dealing with negative thoughts and feelings, is give yourself a time period to feel better. Now, this is an interesting one, and I just kind of have recognized this recently. But like, I was feeling not so great this past week. And then I looked at the calendar and it's November, and I was like, hang on, this time of year, I generally feel like crap.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? Now when I start feeling this way, I'm going to say, okay, give myself until March
Yeah.
and then let's see what happens. And even on a smaller time frame, like when I was having a bad day, I was like, okay, yeah, nothing's going my way today. Clearly the universe has conspired against me because I'm that important. And you know, but like let's give it until tomorrow or 2 days and then see how things are. And you know what? I went to sleep and the next day things were better. But like,
Yeah.
just giving yourself a time period is very helpful because in that moment, you're catastrophizing, thinking it's going to be this way forever and it's never going to get better.
Yeah. No, I like that one too, though, because it's smart. It like takes the pressure off. It gives you a chance to like kind of step back for a minute and just be like, all right, I have till then we'll reassess. Rather than like you said, because that's what we do. We panic and then it just gets elevated to like the 20th level and it's horrible, right? I really like that. I'm gonna start using that too, because it's funny. You said like, I mean, this time of year too, I always feel like crap this time of year. It's like the transitioning seasons or something like does it to me. The light and all, I don't know what it is, but like, yeah, it's rough. And just giving yourself time. That's all you need.
Mm-hmm.
You're cool. Um, my last one is find a friend and talk to them. Just talk to somebody that you trust, that you like. I mean, it could be anybody, but like, it could be a mentor, it could be a friend, whatever. But just find somebody you trust and just talk to them. Don't wait. If you know that like you're going to escalate this inside internally, don't wait. Call them, reach out to them, ask, talk. If, most people are happy to do that and they can give you some perspective that's not so hate filled, that can help you understand the situation and maybe understand yourself a little and, let those feelings go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great one because oftentimes what we really need is not an answer. We just kind of need to be heard or at least like in the company of another human or maybe animal as we talk through our problems. Like that's
Animals
really
even
all that
work.
we need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the funny thing, And it's like, well, would they always say that, like when like they always say just like listening is like the most important thing because most people they don't expect you to have an answer anyway. And like most people know in their heads that this is not something that there's like an answer for. You just need to be heard, and that usually takes all the weight off. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So my last one, when you have negative thoughts and feelings, is take a break from whatever you're doing and do something you enjoy. So this I find like I'll give some examples. Like sometimes when I'm working way too hard and I'm just pushing myself too hard, I start getting to this threshold where I'm just like seeing red. And and I can continue doing that all day and then I'll just be a mess. Or when I recognize that I'm getting to that level, I just say, okay, stop. I just close everything that I'm doing and I go take a break. I go do something that I enjoy, play a game, do whatever. Or like the other day, I was my in my house for too long and it was starting to get on me and I noticed that it was like wearing on me. I was getting like cabin fever. And
Yeah.
then I just stopped, noticed it, and went and took a walk. And like the walk felt so incredible. Like
Yeah.
way better than a walk should actually feel. But just because my body was saying, you need to go do this. And I did it and it feels good.
That is important though, listening to yourself and taking those breaks because I do that a lot now. And I've noticed it's so helpful. Like, dude, just the other day, it was like I was struggling with this problem. I was having a hard time solving. I was getting more and more frustrated. And as I was getting more and more frustrated, I'm not obviously it's getting, my ability to solve is getting worse. So I just closed everything and took a walk and it was great. And then when I came back, it solved. It solved, it was easy because my brain was clear. I felt better. Like I always take walks, like I read books, play video games, anything that's like not work obviously related that can just let your brain kind of like unwind. Because a lot of times I think we get to that point our brains are just going too fast and you need a chance for it to catch up and process what you've been doing, and then you can fix it. It's a good one. I
Hmm.
like that. So there you have it then. Hopefully this helps everybody how to deal with negative thoughts and feelings. It's the Existential Stoic Podcast. Check us out wherever you get your podcast or on YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe. It helps us out a lot. We'll be back later with another episode. Until then, later, Randy.
Later, Danny.